everyone. Welcome to Ujana Podcast. Ujana Podcast is a podcast that is dedicated to timeless, youthful conversations. And we are here to engage you, uplift you, and keep you moving. This podcast is dedicated to young people in their communities, their own communities as well, organizations that work with young people, and anyone out there who's feeling youthful. Welcome to Ujana Podcast. I'm your host, Caroline Momanyi.
I'm your host, Mr. Silla Ogola. Welcome to the podcast again. And this is when we're talking about identity, focusing on identity across various generations. And before we speak more on that, we have a guest in studio with us today. I'll just hand it over to you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Doing
We're
amazing.
doing. Yes, only squeezing in ngumu, but we are happy to be here. We are happy to be here.
My name is Malika Ouma.
Mhm.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for wanting to entertain my noise
100%.
and my nonsenses. Very exciting. I am a creative artist, photographer by profession. I am also a producer, a host for radio, TV, and events. In short, mi napenda kupiga kelele.
Hey, you're versatile. I always said when I grow up. Then I'm grown.
I've kept the dossier very short. Very short.
We like it.
Yeah.
We like it. We like it.
And I'm excited to just, have this conversation and bounce off good ideas and stories and empower each other and empower the ones behind us. So yeah. Should be
Nice.
vibes.
That.
Yeah.
Should be vibes.
And I like how versatile, you are. And I think it will be very interesting as we unpack identity development, because that's what we are talking about.
Yeah.
And now we are looking at it, identity across generations.
Yeah.
And we would just like to know, when we are generation.
Mimi ni freedom
Tricky
fighters
question.
wenyu.
Okay. Also,
I am your freedom fighter.
also tupeleke pole pole. Tumia language tumezoea. For listeners that are not in a revolution or a struggle.
Well, guys,
or do not relate. Or do not relate.
Yes,
but
yes.
who isn't in a revolution or a struggle?
Well, it's infectious.
Well,
Good things are infectious.
Well,
Indeed.
that's
Yes.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. I am a Gen Z.
Mhm.
However, I am the OG Gen Z. Sisi ni wale wa kwanza. Sisi ni wale wa kwanza. Kuna sisi wa kwanza na kuna watoto rudogo.
You know, I was telling
The
Josila
upcoming Gen Z.
that we have senior millennials
And
and
junior.
junior
millennials.
And she was like, sijui.
Do you know what I found out? We call this the ones who are like between Gen Z and Zillennials.
Yeah, no, I like that. I keep saying, by the way, we need a new one. Mimi ni one on 99, 97, 90, I think 97, 98, 99, 2000. Let me remember 2000s. We need our own.
You own him.
We need our own.
Me, I think this is just a lot. No, on a serious note though, I think as much as even for us, we are saying identity across generation, it's important to respect that within that generation, people are versatile and dynamic,
Yes.
Yes.
and we are not homogeneous, even within a generation. Kwa hivyo, it's we might be laughing about it like, hey, senior sijui who, but yes,
It's a reality.
It's a reality, and we must also appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it also makes these different generations interesting. It makes it versatile because again, there's different age gaps because it's 10 years for each generation, if I'm not wrong. But sasa hiyo nikaa kucompare mtoto wako 1 year, mtoto wako 10 years.
Yeah.
Those are two different
different people. And I think sometimes when we have these definitions that are very generalized, people would even tend to feel left out.
Really?
Yeah, because they're looking for where do I fit in, where do I put myself in. So sometimes even just to say senior, millennial, or I'm a millennial, like I relate with some aspects of being a millennial, but I also relate with some aspects of being a Gen Z or even X or Boomer. Sometimes definitions tend to put us in a box, and then people are not represented fully.
Yeah. Na pia, as much as we are talking about identity across generations, we don't want to say that you must act like a book act your generation.
Yes.
Pia yo, that's not what we are encouraging. It's just that understand there's a general context that you exist in.
Yes.
Because generation he, but as Caroline, I have other dynamics that really define me
Who you are.
And expound on who you
expound
are.
on who I am.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
back to you.
Yes.
Back
I
to
mean,
you.
this is exciting because
Uh-huh.
having a Gen Z in studio was something we really wanted to do
Mhm.
because we also want to demystify some of the stereotypes that are also out here.
Mhm.
Because sometimes because of those definitions, people tend to already have a thought or an opinion of someone. Even let's say when they're walking into an interview, they already know, oh, we will get some pushback from these Gen Zs with regards to staying after 5 p.m.
Awambi wangu.
Awambi wangu ya
It's
wawatu.
the energy.
Wow.
Hey.
The vibe is not vibing.
Wanauliza mdosi, what vibration?
Yeah, what's the vibration?
What's the vibration?
Because if you're on a low frequency, it's not gonna work.
Match the
currency.
energy.
Yes.
Kama ufiki enda home.
Anyway, we are honored. We are honored to get it from the horse's mouth. And please, we just want to travel with you on that journey, understanding
Vibes.
your experiences from your formative years.
Yeah.
How was your identity developed? What
Well.
are some of those experiences, significant ones, that of
Yeah.
course you feel safe and okay to share with us?
I'm an open book. Unaficha nini? You know,
Wajenzi wanahonga pia open book.
see what? Let me not lie to you. But now you remember you were saying something about now the stereotyping us each other, which is very common with each, no matter what generation you are in.
Yeah.
And something that I had to personally learn is I am my own teammate. I am my own cheerleader. I am my own number one fan.
Ish, I love it.
Ulifika aje hapo?
Where?
Is it as a Gen Z thing?
Give us a
Yani,
pass.
hebu tuone, ulifika aje hapo?
Tuanze barabara.
What are these experiences? Ni bumps gani hizi?
Na diversions
Na
gani?
diversion gani zilikufikisha hapo?
Oh Lord.
Because that's a very rich realization.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a hard realization and not everyone understands that. So I can say it primarily started when I was a young kid. I lost my sister.
Oh,
She was, thank you. She was the middle child. Her name was Malika. And she was just with her name, she was a complete angel. Complete angel. And we lost her after 3 months. And even before we lost her, alikuwa anaenda husi sana, and she feeds, she throws up. So we weren't understanding what's the issue. Akapelekwa husi vizuri. She stayed in hospital for quite, I think for a whole month, alikuwa husi before now she passed away. And I remember the time I was sick. I was so excited to be sick.
Why?
Because I was like, I'm going to go and see her.
Oh, because the only way you related with her,
The only I could see her.
akikuwa hosi.
That was the
hiyo
only
ndio
time I could see her. Yeah, because I'd only been with her for 2 months when she was at home and she was well. And then she got sick and then she was in the hospital for a whole month. So in that time, that month, I was like, okay, if I get sick, I'm gonna go see the little girl.
Yeah.
You know? And that didn't happen. I didn't go to the same hospital she went in. I didn't know how serious the problem was. And even after she passed away and we were now going for the burial, my parents really downplayed it. And right now, as an adult, I don't blame them. And I do still a little bit blame them. Because I'm like, you guys should have handled it a little bit more better.
Yeah.
But I think also with the way they handled it, it showed me that not everybody will handle things the same way. So that taught me, okay, everybody will understand things, interpret things, and break things down differently.
So Malika passes on.
Yes.
Do you guys have a conversation?
No.
Like when it happened, do your parents come back? Do they explain to you
Nothing.
what happened?
Nothing. Hakuna kitu.
So the next thing is just the burial.
Not even when we're going to the burial, because we had now the van we were with, because Ocha ni Kisumu. So from Nairobi hadi Siaya County, ndo tunaenda. The whole journey, I'm not seeing the girl. I asked my mom, Malika ako? Oh, ako hapo analala?
Wow.
I was like, cool vibe. She's sleeping. And I'm like, she must be comfortable in there. Baka amefunikwa, jeneza ni ya white. I'm like, okay, girl must be comfortable in there. You know? It did not. And then she told my one of my uncles in Kikuyu, asiende hapo.
Sasa wewe usiende hapo.
Nisiende karibu. So funny thing, I never understood that until I was older. Is when I was sat down and I'm like, wait, I'm not breaking things down. Breaking things down. I'm like, okay, that's what happened. So your secrecy.
Na ile wali guard, yani you are guarded.
niligadiwa ni kama, I'm like,
hata
whoa.
bare minimum hawakukupatia hata kidogo tu.
I'm telling you, I knew she had left us when now we were putting her down. Tukimwaga mchanga hivi. Ndio nikajua niko, wait, I see this in movies.
You are Rudy.
People only do this when they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And mind you, the whole time during the whole ceremony, me with my cousins, we're playing, we're running around, we're making noise. Watu huko mbele wanaongea. I'm like, okay, guys, that seems like some adult stuff. Have fun.
And you're not welcome there.
Yeah, when it's fun times, when it's vibes, I'm gonna be there. Then now when the lowering started happening is when reality was sinking in. And from there, the crying began. My parents were like, don't cry, utagonjeka, utakuwa mgonjwa, be strong. I'm like, guys, I'm not even 10 years old.
So you have no information on what is going on.
Yes.
You are not allowed to express emotion. Okay.
All you have is just a perception of what has happened, and there's no room to express. And I don't know how that experience became something that has influenced your identity, or how you defined life or defined yourself. Yeah.
That was the time I understood, okay, when you live, you're going to die.
Okay.
It made me be like, okay, death is actually real, and death does not care who you are, how old you are, how young you are, how pretty you are, how tall you are, how short you are. It does not care. And I was like, okay, so I have to come to part with this life thing, but I don't really understand. And I'm like, okay, will I die soon? Will I not die soon? And then,
Okay, you have no information. Let's start from there.
I
Like, you
get
really
you.
don't know.
You have no information.
So as I grew up, it made me now identifying with myself made me understand that everything has a beginning and an end.
Okay.
That is where I started being going, okay, everything has a beginning and an end. It's not always fairy tales. It's not always roses and sunflowers and love hearts and rainbows. And I was like, okay, hapa ndo tunaanza kujua life ni nini. I'd cool. So now the question I had to ask myself is, who am I going to be in this life? Am I going to wallow through my emotions? And I did wallow through my emotions for a very long time in my primary years and also in high school. Nikifika form 2, ndo nikaanza kupata peace pole pole. That's when I started getting peace. But now that death made me also very socially awkward. It made me very socially awkward.
So?
Because unakaa chini unalia watu wanakuangalia, wewe unalia.
Okay, wait. Lakini ukilia home.
Home hawezi lia. Unalia home kwa nini?
Sorry. Home hawezi lia.
Not allowed.
Okay.
What emotions?
Okay, ngoja. So home hawezi ongea. Like hakuna siku mlirudi mkasema hii ndio ili happen na ukaambiwa like a child nini. Hakuna.
You see how
Wezi ambiwa, wezi lia.
You see how when you're a kid ukifagia alafu unaeka chini ya carpet. Mama sione. Hivyo ndio ilifanywa.
So ukilia home unaambiwa?
Unalia home wapi? Nani akikuona? Unauliza unalia nini?
But you've lost your sister.
No one
We tell you,
cared.
African households, maybe I'm generalizing. Generally, like, what are emotions? You know, where do you,
what do you mean?
You know, what do you mean? How do you express these emotions? It's not allowed.
Each person, like, you need.
But you know, there's this African notion as kids that when mtoto unafeel, what do you mean?
Oh.
When mtui unaelewa?
Okay.
What are you understanding? And that really changes who you are, especially in your mind. So me, because I was really I loved being an older sibling. I was like, hey, I'm a big sister now. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Nata uelewi
There's no explanation, nothing.
I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, I thought I identified myself as the older sister, but now I'm not. What
You're
am
not
I?
even in charge of anything, by the way, at this point.
I'm just moving. I'm just floating.
Yeah, that must be hard.
Yeah, it was really hard. I'm not going to lie. And I think I properly got into terms with it in 2020, actually. Yes, 2020, because I have a podcast and I talked about it in my podcast. And my mom had that episode. And that was the first time we ever had a conversation about it. Ever.
What?
In 2020.
I mean, you're an adult at this point.
Yes.
Wow.
So ever, it was the first time she actually told me how she felt about it. And we had that conversation. I told her, I understand that I'm not a parent, but with you guys shoving it like nothing happened, messed up with me more than you think it would. And I could look like I'm fine. But it's just that I know how to hide things.
Yeah, kwa sababu haukubaliki from your safe space nyumbani.
Exactly.
You're not allowed to know. You're not allowed to express your emotion. No one wants to even follow up.
Exactly.
Like you are crying.
Yeah.
Why were you crying? What
Well, yeah.
emotion? You know, how can we support you?
Yeah.
Avoidance.
I don't even think I've ever been asked that question
Of?
at home.
Really?
Especially with emotional turmoil.
No.
Crazy.
How can we support
Even
How can we
after
support you?
No, even
Yeah.
after such a, bad experience.
It's more like you eating, right? Yeah.
Oh,
You're living.
Your basic functionality
have
is,
been
is
met.
okay.
It's done. So what
Yeah.
else do you want?
So that emotional nurturance is one of the things that I found, not just for myself, but even for most of my friends, just the same experience you've shared. Even as an adult, you're going through difficult things, but you never experience that intentional questioning or intentional digging, like, are you okay? How can I support you? What do you need? And that's why I feel like even today we have that mental health crisis, because even parents don't know what to do, because they're like, hey, okay, by the way, I've never even asked, are you okay? We went through this difficult thing, but we never asked the important questions. And these are things that end up informing your identity and
It
how you
does.
view yourself, how you view life. So, I mean, on that note, considering you guys didn't even talk about this, monumental experience, did you guys even talk about like transitioning from childhood to teenagehood and that process, and whether you talked about it or not, how did you form your identity through that season of your life?
Okay, so one thing I'm very grateful for is my mom has really educated me and empowered me a lot. She empowered, especially now as a girl, because she worked with girls a lot during her career. She has done a lot of working with teenage mothers and people who wenye wamewachiliwa tu na their parents and whatnot, but especially when it comes to girls and just safeguarding girls. So we had open conversations about taking care of yourself. You remember the show Sugar?
Yes.
I watched it with my mom.
What?
Yes.
Love that.
Hey.
I watched it with my mom. My mom was like,
mom is woke.
Yeah.
Because there were some scenes in
like
that.
I'm like, shout out, mom. Like, shout out. Like,
Such privilege, because me, when I
Yeah.
think about like periods, I remember there was an always advertisement on TV, and my mom was like, dude, mind you, we're all seated having dinner with my 17 brothers. I kid, but we're many.
2 football teams.
And I'm just eating, and then I hear, do you know what that is? Hey,
you're
I'm
like,
like, mom. Then we were just quiet. Then she was like, ask your big sister.
Right? Akadelegate.
Akadelegate
Are you
hapo kwa
serious?
hapo. Then the next time, I remember like the first pads she got for us, because we were 3 girls, were the wingless. If you know what I mean.
Wait, what?
The one that it looks like,
So like the panty-liner ones?
panty-liner type. Yeah.
Where?
Very thick.
And I was so confused. Because I was like, how does this thing stay?
Yeah. Will it not just fall? Is it going to absorb everything? But you can't ask anyone that anyway.
And zero guidance, right? Yeah. So to hear how you guys watch Sugar, I mean, like, damn.
I think
it's
even for
interesting
her-
because I have experience in working in that space, but until today, I cannot even tell my father what I do.
That's
Sasa
interesting.
nitaanza kumexplain
Utaanza
aje.
kuexplain
We've never
wapi?
been
Utaambiwa nipatie title.
title.
Ofisi
Ati
iko
we work
wapi?
with young people, we
Fanya nini?
Ni nini? We ni mwalimu, ni mkuli.
Bas.
Unafanyanga nini lakini?
Unadu?
Plus, even like those conversations that we have,
Yeah.
ni zile sasa hizo, like you're talking about reproductive health, for
Yes.
example. Nitaanzaje kuunpack?
Yeah.
You can't
I think for
confirm
my
that.
mom, it was easier for her for me to see it, especially when it comes to sexual health, rather than her directly talking about it. I think that's what made it easier
Okay.
for us, because there's no day I ever had a conversation of her being you're supposed to use a condom. There's this and this. And we never had that conversation.
Lakini mna watch
I don't even,
sugar.
But I
has a
learned about it.
Has a condom even been mentioned in my house, guys?
Haiwezi. Sisi ni Catholics bwana.
Hey,
Sisi hiyo kitu hawezi. Ilikuwa unaambiwa kumbuka amri ya 6.
Mungu,
Amri ya sita.
Amri ya 6.
Guys,
The 6th commandment.
Lol.
And that was just end of conversation.
Sixth commandment took only sugar. The point of reference. Imagine. Crazy.
Yeah, no,
Lol.
I mean,
So yeah, there was that. And so when I was very excited to get my first period, in all honesty, because I knew I had a bulk of information. When I turned 9, 10, she started buying pads and alinipa tu ni stock. Akaniambia, hizi unatumia hivi akakaa chini akanifanyia practical. I was like, cool. She's like, expect this, expect to feel this and this and this. I was like, okay, vibes, bring it on.
mi naona alimprove hata yeye.
Yes.
Yeah.
that
From
was
like
amazing.
starting off from no communication, avoidance,
Yes.
and just also acknowledging umeanza kukua dem.
Yes.
So well ulifeel aje, in that
really,
shift.
it really helped me mentally because it made me feel like, okay, this person is concerned and they're showing me the concern. And in my head, I'm like, okay, that means if there's somebody who you care about or somebody you know and information you have, share it, give it out. And in my head is like, okay, as Malika, if you have I'm never selfish with knowledge. Kama unajua kitu, ambia mtu, unakaa nayo alafu utadu. So it helped me know that as Malika, share as much as you can. Whatever you learn, teach it to somebody else. Patia mtu mwingine, you share it, be contagious with it. So that's something that I can say, that experience helped shape that part of me, of not being selfish with things and experiences. That's why I'm always very comfortable talking about any experience I've been through. Because I'm like, sa nikikaa nayo na kuna mwenye huko nataka kujiua saizi, anataka tu kusikia hiyo story.
You could be
Unampatia.
their lifeline.
It's true.
Yeah. Sasa at least tunaona madhe amefunguka. How is your dad at this point? At least you can give her flowers.
Hey.
Amejaribu.
Mtoto wa Agnes.
Touch on a nerve. How is he?
So people like saying I'm my father's twin.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I am my father's child. I am my father's firstborn son. I'm the boy my dad never wanted.
Where?
I've been a tomboy my entire life. And it bothered him until it got to a point he was like, you know what? You get what you get and you live with it. We had a very close relationship before my sister passed away. We were very, very close. We'd go everywhere together, do everything together. He would go for trips. I'd go with him. So it really strengthened my relationship with him. And even till today, when I'm looking for a partner, when somebody's interested in me, there are things about you I will compare to my dad. Straight up.
Any daddy's girl for real.
Yes. I will compare some things, not everything. Where?
Kitu tu siwezi reconcile ni, and I know it comes from the stereotypes we mentioned early. Kuna watu wanasema Gen Zs, awaskizangi. So, and I'm wondering, you're able to have a relationship with your dad because I mean he sounds like an authoritarian,
I'm telling you, my dad
mnaelewana aje?
My dad angeingia kwa nyumba hivi, if I'm watching TV, let's say I'm from doing homework and I'm watching TV, I'm hearing my dad he's parked the car, TV off, eka Citizen, TV off, eka vitabu, spread them all over.
Kwani were we in the same house?
Set a scene.
Set a scene, create eka glass ya maji hapo kama mtu ako
serious. Sisi, by the way, the TV is hot, but there was no one in the living room.
You disappear. Kwani all our fathers were the same.
I think so.
And the funny thing for us is you're even playing outside. I mean, we were popular kids. My family, we were like popular kids. Alafu sasa that meant people would come to play in our block. And we are playing outside. It's playing time. We're not even reading. You're not even watching TV. But the minute guys spot my dad, we used to call that thing Energizer. Nakumbuka ile. Wakiona Mr. Mawani, or disappear. Ghost and those were the fathers that you had. So ile fear.
That fear.
Yes.
For me, and
there was a lot of fear. I'm telling you, I stopped fearing my dad now when I got older. And like, I remember for 2 years, 2021, 22, me and him, we were not North Pole, South Pole. North Pole, South, tulikuwa tunagongana hivi tu.
Mlikuwa mnagongania
na vile
nini?
mlikuwa mabeste.
Tulikuwa bestie.
Mlikuwa mnagongania nini? Your self-expression
Yes.
or the things that maybe he would want you to do and maybe you're giving a little bit of pushback.
Ease of it. So when I finished high school, my dad wanted me to go and do a librarian course.
Niko nawa. Okay, hiyo ni poa. It's good to be a custodian of knowledge. Lakini
alikuwa nataka nipange vitabu. Sasa niko custodian, nataka nipange vitabu.
Ni custodian.
Custodian.
Wacha ni custodian. Ni custodian of knowledge.
Alitaka nipange vitabu. Because nisijui yango, I was like, "Ay bro." I was like, "Hey dude, apa." That's now when I started learning to say no. And now me learning to say no. Because mind you, after high school, kuna vitu nyingi nimesha experience. We're done with primary. Primary was a lot in itself. The death of my sister messed me up. Even educationally, it messed me up because I was an A student. And then now everything's going
with zero support.
But one thing I can say, I thank that experience when I was younger, is it made me know that I'm a creative. And that's something I came out to learn when I got older. Because I used to sing to my sister, the small one. I used to sing to her and she used to sleep every time I sang to her. Then when I got my other sister, I did the same thing. And I was like, okay, that one showed me like, this thing is a vibe for me. Cool. Even you, it's a vibe. I vibe.
Na ulijipata kitambo.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I found myself early.
You sound to have been very reflective, really.
I did, because with that time now, especially, that's what I was saying, after the death, I got to be alone a lot. And even when my other sister was born, she was still a kid, so we couldn't relate or converse about a lot of stuff. So I was basically by myself. And I was an only child in a house of 2.
Where?
So that means mimi na my brain tulikuwa tunakaa tu hivi tunaongea. I have a lot of conversations with myself. Now, that's when I was younger. So if I was talking to myself when I was younger, you can imagine what I do now.
Lakini ni poa pia inamaanisha you're comfortable in just existing peke yako. Unajua, uko too comfortable.
Which I had to learn by force.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, out of a very
survival
bad
at
experience.
that time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that survival period really shaped a part of who I am. Because it's very hard to put down survival mode. And you'll still find yourself in survival mode even when you're an adult.
When you don't need to.
Yes, when you don't need to.
It's interesting because I was reading this book and this lady was talking about, she was talking to the therapist, and the therapist mentioned to her, every time you're talking, you just mention you. At that time, the therapist is trying to bring to her awareness, you have a partner that loves you, you have family that support you, but why do you feel like it's just you? So for her, she realized, I'm actually not surviving anymore. It's not just me. Yeah, like I'm supported. I am in a new season. And sometimes at that time it's survival and then we carry it. And it's those things that even push us to do really great things. But also we need to know when to
put it down.
And it's hard because also when you grow older, I think speaking for a senior millennial, when you grow older, you give meaning to those experiences, you know. It's not that when you're going through loss, the others around you are not also mourning.
Yeah.
And probably they don't have the capacity to support you. But now you're thinking, hi, waliniacha peke yangu. So you don't cut them some slack, like hata wao walikuwa wanamon wangekuaje na capacity ya I mean, whether they are your parents, your siblings, it's very tough, but because you've given it meaning, ndio hivyo, and you grow up surviving. So even when later wao wameheal, wewe pia unaendelea kuheal, and they are showing up,
yes,
they still some resistance. Mi hata sijazoea. Unasikia, they're choking me.
I'm like, I feel suffocated. Like, give me my space, guys.
Kumbe, that's how kusaidiwa, people being there for you also means.
And you don't know how it feels.
And people don't have to be there for you when you want them to be there for you. Ujui pia wana deal na nini. Yeah. So it's tricky.
It is. And grappling to that fact that not everybody might be going through what you're going through.
Really? True.
Is then another fact that is hard for people to understand. Even I remember I went through that for some time where I'm like, you guys are not seeing how this is an issue. Like, y'all are fine with this.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Wow, I shall move on. Hata wanashindwa, why are you still on this?
On to the
Why are you
next
still
issue.
on this matter? Yeah, please. Yeah, I think for me, I would like to see how your relationship with your dad moves on now that you have, gotten into relationships.
Wow.
Of course, umesema utaki kukuwa librarian. Kwanza ushakuwa blacklisted.
And for blacklisted kitambo.
And as you're putting resistance to this librarian, what is this? What is this alternative that you're pushing towards?
By the way, before the relationship, yes.
So when I finished high school, now my dad is like, "Aye, Bambina," he calls me Bambina. What's going on? I'm like, dude, first of all, nimetoka high school like a month ago. How am I supposed to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life with just 1 month?
Lakini pia unaita babako dude. Sisi ungeraruliwa. Hata huwezi mfikiria kama dude.
Kwanza tu ungekuwa
your tone.
Na hiyo energy ya dude.
She's like, who are you doing?
Who are you doing?
I'm like, you guys.
But do you know, Carol, like a big difference I'm already seeing is her questioning, how am I supposed to figure this out in a month?
Yeah.
And me, I went and figured it out in 30 minutes. I found a course. You see,
in 30 minutes.
I was told, my friend, this guitar, you're not going to play it. So go find a course. And I went and I found a course. But you see the pushback here.
But
right?
unaona tu yani, as much as we are laughing about it, it's very serious.
It is.
Even that guidance to finding a cause
was
that
tough.
defines your next level is taken like just, like nothing to
figure it out.
walk that way, walk back to party a cause.
Yeah.
But how about what do you like? What interests you? That very well curated conversation that even gives you more room for introspection.
Yes.
Wacha nifikirie zaidi with more seriousness. Hii kitu yenyewe,
what do I really
want to do?
Me, I forced a gap year.
Hey, okay.
Well, you are living dangerous,
guys. I'm telling you, I am my father's firstborn son.
This is Gen Z injecting.
I'm like, am I even ready? This seat is feeling already too hot.
Decide whether you want to be a part of this family
or not. Ama unakuwa tu shift to
figure
your
it out.
Think about
yourself. I'm telling you, I took a gap year by force, by fire.
Gap year.
I did.
It even has a name.
I was like, guys, I need time to figure out things. I'm like, come on.
You're joking.
I was like, guys.
Okay, au kuforsiwa uingie like computer driving.
A computer lazima ufanye.
Okay.
Now the thing is, my dad didn't want me to drive for a very long time. So even for me to go to driving school, mimi ndo nilimforce. I'm like, come on, guys. Kwa nini mtaki niende driving school? Mimi ndo nilimforce. I went to driving school in, I think, 2019. Yes, that's when I went to driving school. And I finished high school in 2017. So a whole gap year was 2018. Hiyo mwaka, nilikaa chini nikasema, Malika, unataka kufanya nini wewe? Unataka kazi ya ofisi? Ulisikia wapi? Unataka 9 to 5? Ulisikia wapi? So in my mind, because I've seen what a 9 to 5 looks like. I've seen my mom coming home at 6 to come and cook for us dinner. My dad coming home at 9 for him to go on working. Goes and sleep, wakes up at 5:30, kutoka nyumba at 6. I'm like, this is such a cycle that it looks so depriving. I'm like, I don't want that for myself. I was like, I don't want that for myself. Kabisa.
Ngoja kidogo.
And this is the energy that's on the streets as we speak.
Because you see, even how do you arrive at it that is so depriving? Because me, I grew up seeing the same. I mean, only my dad worked. My mom, by the time I was born, she was done working because she had to quit her job and maybe consult or be in chamas. I don't know what was going on. She was busy. She was busy. No, alikuwa very, very available. Lakini sasa, looking at my dad going to her, coming back, nini, I never thought that is depriving.
Yeah.
For me, that just looks like, providing. This person was getting busy so that we can eat.
Mhm.
Hey, but even looking at how for you guys, that was like,
That
okay, yes,
shift.
there's motivation, kuna food, kuna do, but apana.
It can't be all
there's
of
more
it.
to life.
Yes.
Exactly. There's more to life
I
because
love it.
you come and see everybody who is working are always miserable.
Hey.
Wacha
Mulifika
kutucall
huko
out.
saa ngapi?
Wacha.
Mulifika huko saa ngapi?
Sasa you want me to schedule my therapist for next week?
Me hata sasa niko confused. You know, like yani, that wokeness.
Yeah.
Ni kama si tulikuwa programmed, you know.
Very
Usome,
well.
wende hivi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anything, I looked forward to carrying my bag. To
Uende
go
kazi,
to work and come back
Eh.
home. And I was very excited when I got my first job, you know, to do all of that and say, you know, I am employed, you
I'm
know, I can
working.
buy my own to stuff and nini, but I never really questioned. Right now is when I'm like, when I sit in my house and Shika even has some,
No.
Where?
Lakini pia I'm just giving it to your generation. That realization for me, I got it probably after job number 3.
Oh, wow.
That now I am starting to be more present in my environment and I'm questioning. I'm like, by the way, I'm coming to work, I'm being paid, I'm really good at what I'm doing, but vile napelekwa huku
Wanakubeba ufala.
wananipeleka vibaya. By the way, wananipeleka vibaya, hiyo operation mi siwezi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sasa, but by the time ni get hiyo, I wasn't after high school, you know, so I really commend your level of, you know, self-awareness
Thank you.
that your generation represents.
Definitely.
And it's been a struggle. It's Zilasa, you know, they always say one history repeats itself. And the history of life has been repeating itself. Men go to work. It started with, back in the day, men go to work, provide. Madam weka kwa nyumba, chunga watoto. Life ends there. But I'm like, especially as women, that can't be our only job. Kuka tu home, unachunga watoto, unachunga nyumba, unachunga.
It's more to life.
It's like, kwani, that's why you were born.
As in kuna maisha.
Exactly.
You know, that's answering the big question. There's life.
Yeah,
There's life. And there's more to life than money, than houses, than cars, than what. Because hizi ukikufa,
different vibration, different frequency. If you're vibrating here at sijui buying a car wako hapa. Panda juu.
What is your purpose in life?
Yeah,
Uko ndio tuko.
So it's at the same time, unajua ukikufa watu watasema nini? When you die, what story will be told about you? Because as humans, we always leave our footprint. So do you want to leave a footprint that somebody wants to inspire to feel that footprint? Or a footprint, mtu ako, iyo, no thanks. No thanks. So with me seeing that thing of my, and me, I'm not a morning person. Mimi nakuamka asubuhi.
I was about to say something. That's something a Gen Z would say.
Yeah,
but it's a stereotype.
Ngoja kidogo.
Personally.
Masaa ya kazi. Unless you're working a shift system,
yes.
We know, and that's why we all loosely say you're 95 or you're 8 to 5. So unaanza kusema I'm not a morning person.
Personally.
What are you saying?
So personally, because I'm a freelancer and I love it.
Yeah,
I have never been. Exactly.
In our generation, freelancer.
It wasn't there. See, you wanasema ile kibarua. It's like nyinyi mtaita ni kibarua.
Ni kibarua.
So like the thing I love about it, I am in charge.
kali.
I am in charge of my time. I am in charge of my work. I am in charge of my concept. I'm not sijaenda shule ndio I ask somebody cheki si wacha nikuje nikufanyie kazi jimi najua alafu nikikufanyia kazi utanilipa. I have to come and ask you to allow me to do what I can do. Well. So now I started on myself like, wait, instead of me going and giving somebody else all of these things I know, why can't I be the one employing myself? Mimi ndo nikule hiyo mshahara.
I think what we're struggling with here is self-actualization that has come at a very young age. And I love it and I'm here for all of it. And I feel like sometimes the older generation, when they're listening, they're just terrified in their hearts. Like why do you know this at 18? You know not at 45.
45.
You know, like, damn.
No, but also comes back to what we said, you know, in our previous conversations, that this thing that we are saying identity development, it's a process.
It is a process.
Yeah. And also, as we are talking sijui Gen Z, millennials, bado hiyo spectrum bado ni kubwa sana. Kuna bado Gen Zs wenye hawajafika hapa.
Kuna madogo mozi huku nje.
Kuna millennials bado wana struggle nayo. But for me naona our experiences are so similar, but the level at which you guys move from a victim. Unajua, kama mi nilikaa hapo victim sana. I am an African child. They have neglected me. It's okay. I'll push myself here and there. But by the time I got to say and address my oppressors, whether it was my friends, whether it was colleagues I met at work, just, addressing them, just saying, excuse me, I no longer feel appreciated in this space and I'm moving on.
Yeah.
It took a lot. Like I was getting older and older. Like it's not like, something I started when I was much younger. So I really commend that you guys, that ability to have a voice, even when you've had experiences initially in your life where you are voiceless. Like nobody, uko utaki kusikizwa na mtu. You are non-existent from how your parents treated you.
Oh, commute.
Lakini vile umechukua hiyo power sahi, yani unasema, manze, this is my life and these are my terms.
Yes. Yeah. Terms ni zangu. And even when now after high school, my dad was like, I want you to go study French. I was like, okay, fine. I'll say yes to this one just to get you off my back.
Okay.
Just to get you off my back. I have a very weird mentality, and I weird, but I love it. I always say, if I'm to learn a language, I will learn an African language first, not a language of a colonizer first. I'm sorry to say it like that.
I love it.
And sadly, neither of my parents taught me my mother tongue. Neither of them, because I'm Luo Kikuyu. Neither of them was taught. By the time they were coming together, those two tribes were not eye to eye. So na hiyo kichwangu yangu nikaenda French, niko cool. I was like, what do I want to do? I want to do something creative, something vibe, something fun, something I can be loud in. And in high school, nilikuwa drama, music, and I was thriving. And I was like, that is what I want. Nilienda Kenya National Theatre, kuanza sasa audition. Nilienda kutafuta audition.
So ulituma uende usome French. Wewe ukaenda
Kufika Kenya National
with your Gen Z audacity.
Right? Follow instruction moja ya mzazi. Moja tu.
Nilienda, I was like,
ampendi instruction.
Kitu atupendi ni go left, you have to go left. If you tell me go left, I'm going to question, why can't I go right? What is wrong with right? Because right now if I tell you water is good for you, you'll ask me, why is water good for me? I expect somebody, mbona ni mzuri kwangu, mbona si mbaya? Is that thing of now, don't just do because you've been told to do.
Na pia unajua, the other thing I'm liking is as you're expressing yourself, pia hakuna shida ya kuuliza. Because from me, ilikuwa kambe kuuliza ni makosa. You are not supposed to ask. Huwezi kusema, kwanza huwezi answer sentence ina kwa nini. Ama si criminal. It's giving criminal.
Yeah. It's giving treacherous criminal.
I think for me, my level of not questioning was even chronic because we are many at home. So if you're the good child that does, you hear, be like her. Sasa pia bila sikia poa anasema kutio hiyo. So bila kipoa instructions, now you don't question much. You just
you unataka pia kuplease mzazi.
Exactly. You want to please, and then we are many, so we are trying to get attention we are trying to to stand out amongst 7 or 8. Like that was the struggle. There was no room for kwanini, why? Because I told you so, it accompanied a slap.
Malika. Kwa Malika hapa ni mimi. Hakuna hata ni kwa nini, like if this is about me, even do not get. Kama ni
I'm in charge. I'm in charge. Whether you like it,
I need to be involved.
You're not making decisions for me, whether you like it or not. So, yes, I did go for French eventually, just to Buddha fry. So I went to KNT, nikatafuta audition. There's a school called Nairobi Performing Arts Studio. I went there in January. Wakaniambia auditions, kuja March. Nikaenda March. Auditions bado, kuja August. Nilingoja nikaenda August. Kaniambia, sasa ngoja November. Nikaenda November. Kwenda November ndo nikapatika. Wamefungua sasa auditions
commitment nayo.
Exactly. Commitment. And I got in because I auditioned for singing classes, acting, and theater production. So I did all 3. And it was amazing. And one of my teachers, she taught me voice, was Helen Mtawali. Oh, madam. Kama kuna kitu mama kona nakwambia my friend. She's like, own your space unapologetically. And that is something that now also drained into my head. As Malika, if you're owning the space, own it, run with it.
I'm liking this because as much as we are saying like maybe in the formative years there was an issue with the adult in your life as a Gen Z, but also you are open to those adults like Helen, as you're saying, that are really empowering you, giving you back your voice, validating your existence, and that you're here. There's something that you have that is useful to, to all of us.
To all of us. And that was honestly the beginning of my creative life. And it was amazing. And I remember when I told my parents I got in, my mom was really excited for me. I think she's been the most supportive before my dad got to
Warmed
now.
up. I mean,
He was like, hey,
No, but I feel like sometimes our folks, it's just fear. Because once you come out on the other side and you've succeeded, they're like, whew,
they made it.
I was just scared.
Yeah. Lakini pia wao labda if we ever have a chance of bringing them here, maybe pia wao watatuambia vitu zitatushock.
That's true.
They were working with nothing. Hakunanga manual. Like even for your next transitions una notice, by the way, mtu alikuwa akiniambia hana pesa, unashindwa wewe sina kuwa unaendanga job. Unaendanga gigs hauna pesa aje. But now is when it's making sense.
Exactly. Especially when your mom tells you, aki sina pesa.
Unashindwa.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't have money? You're an adult. What do you mean you don't have money? But now I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I get you. You can have money, lakini your do iko na kazi. So in short, hauna do. Because the one you have, iko na kazi.
Wow.
And now getting to those realizations of there are certain things that our adults used to say, it didn't make sense when I was younger. And I'm like, okay, this is what it means to be an adult.
Yeah.
Which again, it's a hoax, if you ask me. Because hakuna manual. I feel cheated. I feel lied to. But I'm like, hi, cool. It's fine. And then I started my tattoo phase and my parents were like, huh?
You had a tattoo phase.
When I got my first tattoo, it was very hidden. So no one could really see it. So the first time my mom sees it, she's like, is that your sister's name? It's like, girl. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
Well.
And then now, when I got my first visible tattoo, and my dad saw it, and he was like, what is this? And I was like,
my child has gone mad again.
Meh.
No, but I think from the conversation we had last week, when we were looking at a different generation, we found out that as much as there's a version of Gen Z radicality and just boldness, but then again, that doesn't come from nowhere.
Yes.
Because even the parents have instances for them, to their parents, that their decisions seemed very radical. So I don't know if there's like a story or an event or something that your folks did that at their time was considered, you guys are moving in
too fast.
Yeah, or you're doing something out of.
There's one when my dad was younger. My dad and now my grandpa, really, it's like now me and him, butt heads. Butt heads. So when now my dad was in primary, my grandpa bought himself shoes. Alijinunulia taffies. Back in the day kuna taffies. Yaani ule mzee. Huyu ni mzaya amenunua taffies zake anang'ara. Watoto wake wanaenda shule mguu tupu ama slippers.
Na yeye akona taffies.
My dad got mad. And he was like, why are you wearing taffies and you're not going to school?
Wow.
Unavaa hizi viatu na mimi sina viatu. My grandpa was like, unazitaka? Nazitaka.
Unaona hiyo mdomo.
Nazitaka.
Take it back.
And that's how, and my grandpa ended was like, fine, take them. Akapewa.
Wow.
And because the shoes were too big for my dad, he had to stuff them with socks. Mbele ndo ijae. Ndio mguu at least itosheka kiatu. And then when now they were growing now way older, my parents had to low-key elope because of the tribal difference. The tribal difference was something crazy my parents.
Disrupt us.
Yeah. And they were like, guys, we're doing this thing, whether you like it or not. Wakaishi pamoja for like, they moved in together for like 8-9 months. And they were like, oh, these guys are serious. It's not a joke. And they're like, guys, get on board. I'm a Monday to home.
Wow.
So they got on board on it, which was, it was a miracle. And it had even when I was born, because I'm left-handed, my grandma wasn't fine with it. She was like, kwa nini mtoto anaandika na left? Ebu mpige, wacha kutumia left.
Atumie right.
Who's my mother? Mtoto ni wako, ni wangu.
Muaccept penye yako.
Take it or leave it.
Anyway, na vile tunasema tu across generation, as much as we're using the word across, there's a lot of similarities.
It's so true.
There is.
There's a lot. And for me, as much as we're talking identity development, it's just also an opportunity to see how best can we embrace each other.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot we can lean on and learn and even awaken. Like there's somebody who is in another generation and they might say, okay, I also need to get that spark. What can I start doing in my life? Because it's possible at whatever time.
It's never too late.
Across whatever generation that you are.
True.
As long as you are able to sit with yourself.
That
and have these hard reflections and ask yourself hard questions.
Yes.
But I think even as we are looking across and with an aim of differences, there's a lot of similarities listening to you.
I call it having an executive meeting with yourself.
Yeah.
Ukae tu chini, all of the yous, mukae tu chini vizuri. Kama nyenyu munapenda kukunywa, muweke madrinks, kila mtu muonge.
The delusional you.
Yes.
And the normal you,
the sane you, the sad you, the lonely you, the what you, the what. Mukae tu
Mu decide.
Kila mtu atoe maoni yake.
Wow.
And you come to a conclusion because at the end of the day, nobody will live your life.
True.
Nobody will really live your life. And it's up to you. So even when there's a tattoo I got, and then my dad saw it, again, he was furious. He's like, what are these things you keep drawing on yourself? And then he asked me, what does this one specifically mean? And the one that he was pointing at is now the one, I have a tattoo that's in representation of my sister's, her birthday. This one on my arm, it's her birthday. And it's Blessed Assurance because that's the last song we sang to her, me and my parents. And I explained it to him. Na tangu hiyo siku hajawahi niuliza. Hajawahi. Hiyo story imeisha. Because that was him knowing whatever I put on me, it's not I'm putting it kama sijui. Nimekaa chini, nimefikiria. And I'm
You're
like,
not erratic.
Yes. I'm not just going to wake up today. I'm like, oh, I want to do this one.
Na Gen Z mko na story.
Story.
Mtafanya tutoke huku kwa show leo.
Hadithi ziko.
Unajua mtasema in this short life. There is abundance of learning.
And
I think for me what I'm
right?
taking away is that there is just need for people to be interested enough to look beyond the stereotypes.
Yes.
Yeah, because aina haja kuweka hiyo stereotype mbele, that if you engage with a Gen Z, with a Gen X, Gen Y, engage beyond the stereotype because they can even motivate, inspire you, whether young or small. And
inspiration comes anywhere.
And it can influence as well that identity that you're forming, as you're forming it. I don't know about you guys.
Very, 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 very true. I agree 101. And I call it looking beyond. You can't just want to see your nose. You can't just want to see the person in front of you. You want to have to see what you cannot see. And you go,
Yep.
unatafuta. Yeah, those things they say, oh, what you're thinking of is impossible. You're impossible. Run for that one.
Yeah, freelancers and consultants.
Sisi. Free us, by the way.
Very.
Sisi, usicheze na sisi, by the way. Sisi.
I think for me, my takeaway from this episode today is life sometimes can seem very cruel, but it kind of, especially those early years, kind of equips you, right? It equips you for the next 10 years, the next 15 years, or 20 years into your adulthood, right? That's one thing I've learned from your story. The other thing I've taken is, wow, every generation has some radicality, something that they do that is against the grain. Yeah, and I love that because sometimes we're like, this one not too sure. But when you sit down and listen to your dad, you're like, damn, you were such a radical at your time. And for me, it's just appreciation. I appreciate the different generations that are there, and I just love the wisdom that comes out of it through the different stories.
And it's learning also from older people who we see you. We're very, personally, I'm very observant.
Umesema older people.
Who
are you calling?
It's okay, it's okay. Back to that serious point. Nimesikia joto ingine.
So yeah, just learning from seeing, even in matters of relationships. I've never had like a full-on conversation about relationships with my parents, or maybe with my mom. So if I had something, my mommy, nasikia hivi, kuna hivi, hivi. This guy, should give me some highlights. But deep down, it's me just observing what my parents put in front of me, what other my uncles, my aunts, my parents' friends, what do you put out in front? Because as younger people, we pick, even everybody, we pick on what you see.
Yeah.
And now it's up to you to question, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Do I like this? Do I not? Do I this? Do I not? And if we don't question things, we don't shift things, then life becomes boring.
True.
It becomes a monotonous cycle. Yeah.
No, this is quite an interesting episode for sure. And thank you for allowing us to learn from your doings as a generation. It's bold, it's inspirational. And we are very honored for you to having made time to come and share
Anytime.
all this awesomeness with us.
Lazima.
Yeah.
Lazima upeane.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me and listening
So much fun.
to my adventures.
Ooh, was a whole book with too many
Hii hata
chapters.
kitabu teje. Hii ni part one.
I think for me, I'm like, question everything. It's okay to question.
Question. But you kuuliza si ujinga.
Yeah.
Ile kitu niliambiwa kuuliza si ujinga, I'm like that one. I ran with it.
Wow.
I ran with it.
Wow. Our wonderful audience, mmesikia kuuliza si ujinga. We hope this episode will inspire you to question yourself, to question anyone and anything as you advance your own journey on identity development. Join us next time. Follow us. Ask questions. If you have anything you want us to address as well, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.